Hello, little witchlings and princelings, and welcome to your weekly Coven Summoning. My name is Ilsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we're Caffeine and Conjuring,
a fantasy bookish podcast where we will discuss some of our favorite fantasy reads.
Episode 50!
Episode 50! And unfortunately, we have to waste it on this.
I was going to say, it's a cruel twist of fate that the entire episode is all Tower of Dawn.
Uh-huh.
How the fuck did that work out to that?
But it's like we're celebrating two things with episode 50. We're celebrating half 100 episodes, and we're celebrating being done with Tower of Dawn.
Forever. I am never reading that again. Ever.
It's funny because when I went to Goodreads to put in my my actual rating for Tower of Dawn, I seen yours from January 2024, and you had said it like along the lines of if you read it again, you'll be doing the tandem read, and like hopefully it'll be like easier to read. So now I'm curious.
Technically, yes, a lot better doing the tandem, but it's still fucking horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, well, happy 50 episodes. And in probably about an hour, happy to be done with this damn book.
Yeah. No, we aren't done with this damn book. We still have another episode.
It's a final review. We don't need to focus on Tower of Dawn. We can just focus on the important parts.
Fair. And that is literally all covered in Empire of Storms.
Yup. Before we get into it, if you don't want anything spoiled for you, make sure that you've read up to and finished both Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn.
Spoilers galore.
Yep. And we left off last episode with the party splitting, because that always works out great in every version of that in history.
Yes.
Adian goes north with the fake Aelin to command Terrason's forces. Dorian leaves with Manon to search for the Krakens and the final key. Gavriel, Lorcan, and the lead mount Wyverns to join Rowan's pursuit of Maeve, and the 13 fly overhead guarding both paths. And it ends off with Rowan by himself shifting into the storm, catching the wind, and launching away to go find his wife.
His wife!
Now we're right back to the fucking Torre.
Yep. We get another, like, kind of that wife drop at the end of this book, too.
Yeah. Not as good,
it didn't hit the same.
Like, I don't know why I'm looking forward to Kingdom of Ash so much, because it's just going to fucking destroy me again.
Oh, don't say that.
This fandom is a prison.
Yeah, I've heard.
All right, let's get into it so we can be done with it.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Oh, and it'll be nice to just, like, not be a sourpuss about...
Yeah.
Everything going forward will be happy-go-lucky.
Will it? I hope so.
So hopping right in to chapter 58 of Tower of Dawn, Irene and Kale basically have one of those, we should probably get out of bed, but what if we simply don't? Mornings. They lounge, eat lunch half-dressed, and try to be patient while Hafiza decides whether she'll hand over the ancient books. While Kale fills in more of the Selena to Aelin to Queen saga, and you feel how heavy it sits in his chest, Irene starts connecting dots. If Aelin burned the Valg out of Dorian and the king with fire, then maybe the Valg aren't just possessing. Maybe they function like parasites. And Irene doesn't mean parasites in the vague metaphor way at first. She means it in the gross clinical healer way. Carriers, implantation devices, rings and collars. Something small that takes root and grows, feeding on the host. Remove the delivery system and you've only started. The real fight is what's already inside. Then it gets even more deliciously layered. Irene admits she's been dealing with her own parasites too. Hatred, fear, anger, pain, things that kept her going but were also draining her. And she's been teaching Kale the same truth. Surviving isn't the same as facing the thing inside you. She basically baited his darkness into showing itself so he could finally fight it. The big, oh God's breakthrough. If Irene's light healing can treat the Valg like an infection, then theoretically, people with rings and collars could be freed. That's not just hope, that's a potential game changer for everyone Erewhon has under his thumb. And then, because the universe refuses to let anyone have a calm day, Hussar waltzes in with news from your lands, energy, and drops it. Maeve's armada found Aelin's assembled host, and there was a massive battle.
Literally just drops that bomb.
Yep.
Then ends the chapter.
Yep.
Right into chapter 59. Kale braces for the worst when Hussar finally delivers the news, fully prepared to hear that he's too late. But instead, she tells them Maeve lost. The battle was massive and chaotic, but Aelin's forces held, bolstered by Rowan and Dorian on the front lines, a third of Maeve's own fleet turning traitor under Whitethorn banners, and the sudden jaw-dropping arrival of wyverns fighting for Terrasen. There was ice, wind, water, and a shapeshifter tearing through enemy ranks, but no sign of Maeve's signature darkness and no flame among the ships. That's where things get unsettling. Reports place flickers of flame and shadow far from the fleet on the shore, and neither Aelin nor Maeve was seen among the armada during the fighting. Still, the official word is that Aelin returned hours later and sailed north with her forces victorious. Kale clings to that, grateful she's alive, grateful Dorian survived. But Maeve vanished completely, slipping away without a trace. Then Hussar drops the rest. Aelin didn't just win a battle, she called in every debt she had. The silent assassins of the Red Desert answered her summons. So did Wendelin. Every single ship, led by Crown Prince Gallon himself, sailed for her. The sheer scale of it leaves Kale shaken, hands trembling as the truth settles in. Aelin raised an army the world didn't see coming. Not through fear or conquest, but loyalty. When Kale asks what Aelin promised in return, Hussar's answer is quiet and devastating in its simplicity. From one princess to another, Aelin offered the same thing she's been fighting for all along, a better world.
And then into chapter 60, and I know we already said this, I'm not going to say Tower of Dawn every time, because the entire episode is Tower of Dawn. Kale and Irene hurry through Antica with a shared sense of urgency. Aelin has raised an army, and if there's any hope of the Cogonauts joining it, this is their last chance. Kale is all focus and resolve, already prepared to beg if that's what it takes, but first they need Hafiza and the Tories' books. Knowledge, not blades, might be the real weapon here. When they reach the top of the Torre, Hafiza is nowhere to be found. Her office and workroom are empty, though every healer insists she's been inside all day. The unease spikes when Irene finds Hafiza's iron key deliberately slid beneath her own door. A warning, not an accident. Hafiza knew something was coming. They alert the guards and search the Torre, keeping things quiet to avoid tipping off whoever might be responsible. Hafiza hasn't left through any of the exits, which means she's still inside or was taken somewhere hidden. The answer clicks when Irene remembers the old rumors, sealed tunnels beneath the Torre's library. With directions from Nusha and the guards quietly summoned behind them, Kale and Irene race for the library, hands clasped, both knowing this is no longer just about missing books or politics. Something dark has slipped into the Torre, and they're running straight towards it.
Ooh. This chapter, like this next one, actually gave me like
The
the
goosies?
creepy. Yeah. So chapter 61. Irene counts the steps as they descend, numbers ticking in her head like a ward against panic. Down through the Torres levels they go, past acolytes, past shelves that shift from books to scrolls to stone, until the air grows colder and the shadows feel awake. No Basscats, no Haviza, just the sense that they're being watched. At the very bottom, they find it, a single candle burning in a long, silent hall. 4 doors, 3 sealed, 1 open. A tunnel yawning deeper than any level of the Torres should go, with 2 sets of footprints pressed into the dirt. Kale wants Irene to stay behind. Obviously, she refuses, together or not at all. They follow the candlelight into the dark, moving slow, knowing it's a trap, and walking into it anyway. Another light appears ahead, not candle flame, but something richer, gilding the stone like molten gold. When they round the corner, the tunnel opens into a vast chamber, pillars vanishing into shadow, the floor littered with unimaginable wealth, golden armor, chests, weapons, and stone sarcophagi scattered among it all. It's a tomb, or a hoard. At the far end, on a raised dais, sits Haviza, bound and gagged, but alive. Relief lasts exactly 1 heartbeat, because standing beside her, a knife pressed to her pregnant belly, is Princess Duva. Duva turns and smiles at them, and that smile is not human, it's Valg.
Dun, dun, dun.
Honestly, like, I forgot who Duva was when I was reading this. And I was like, oh my god, okay. So clearly I have not been, like, super duper into this book.
And they were all mourning her. That's why they couldn't
No.
talk to Kale.
They weren't mourning her. They were mourning Tombsin.
So fuck, do I not realize who Duva is either?
I'm so happy we're on the same page.
I thought it was the sister that was killed.
No, she killed the sister. Oh, spoiler for
the
next chapter.
Right.
But yeah. Yep.
Man, I must have been glazing these chapters.
Oh boy. Yeah. I was like listening to the audiobook, but was also doing like a lot of sewing while I was listening to the audiobook. So yeah, it was a bit patchy.
Well, chapter 62. Irene and Kale step fully into the trap beneath the Torre, and the truth finally snaps into place. Duva is Valg possessed, pregnant, armed, and completely in control of the chamber. And Hafiza was never the real target. Irene was. The Valg inside Duva reveals everything. The hidden tunnels, the ancient Fae necropolis beneath Antica, the reason healers like Haviza were drawn down here centuries ago, and why Irene's power terrifies everyone. Irene isn't just a gifted healer, she's hope, carefully hidden and protected so she could one day stand against the Valg. Duva lays out her game with chilling calm. Irene will come willingly to Morath, or Duva will kill Hafiza, or force Irene to obey with a Valg ring. Kale tries to buy time, knowing the guards won't reach them fast enough, knowing he's already calculating how to get Irene out alive. Before Duva can act, Hafiza makes her move, hurling herself and the throne down the dais to knock Duva aside. It buys only seconds, but it's enough. Chaos erupts. Hafiza is badly injured. Duva rises again, bleeding, black, furious, and still powerful. Kale orders Irene to run, knowing he won't be able to truly fight Duva with an unborn child at stake. As Irene drags Hafiza away, Kale holds the line along, using a strange ancient mirror to deflect Duva's magic and slam it back into her. For a heartbeat, it seems like he's won. But it's a lie. Duva was never down. She lunges, unleashing her power, and Kale throws himself in front of Irene without hesitation. No shield, no weapon, no plan. Just his body between her and the darkness, taking the full force of the Valg attack meant to destroy her.
That part was creepy too, because she was like on the ground and Irene goes over to her to check like the baby. And when she like turns her over, she's just like smiling at her and then lunges. Like, oh my God. Did not need that visual. Chapter 63. Duva's Valg power targets Kale's spine with horrifying precision, shattering months of healing and leaving him paralyzed and dying on the stone floor. As Irene watches him break again, worse than before, Duva toys with them both, promising either Kale's death or Irene's enslavement with a Valg ring. With nothing but panic and instinct, Irene fights back, buying time by running through the ancient chamber of gold and tombs, only to be caught and dragged back so Duva can force her to watch Kale die. In a moment of sheer desperation, Irene turns the tables, knocking Duva down and pinning her with a dagger poised at her throat. But she freezes. Duva is pregnant. Killing her would mean killing an innocent life, and Irene, healer to her core, cannot do it. She drops the blade, choosing mercy even as Kale slips closer to death. Just as all seems lost, Haviza appears with Nesrin and Sartak, subduing Duva and buying Irene the slimmest chance to save Kale. Irene throws herself into healing him, but the damage is catastrophic. Too much torn, too much broken. Death is already circling. Then something ancient answers her plea. Through Haviza speaks another voice, offering salvation at a cost. Irene accepts without hesitation, offering herself freely to save Kale. The healers of the Torre form a living chain, pouring their combined power into her, and light floods Kale's shattered body, mending bone, knitting flesh, restoring what was thought lost forever. Kale lives. He rises, breath steady, legs moving, and scars gone, including the one that marked his face in Rifthold. As he wakes and smiles at Irene, it's clear this wasn't just healing. It was transformation. Irene Towers doesn't just save him, she changes the fate of a broken man, proving that mercy, sacrifice, and love can defy even Valg darkness. And somewhere in that golden chamber, the cost she agreed to has already begun to follow her.
Right into chapter 64, Kale wakes to pain that feels new instead of shattered. Aching muscles, steady breath, the simple miracle of air that doesn't burn his lungs. Irene is there, helping him sit, and soon Nesrin and Sartak appear, having raced back to the Torre after Kale's message. They weren't alone. Boss cats led them through the depths, and the healers followed in numbers so great it seemed the whole Torre came running. Hafiza is alive, frail, shaken, but clear-eyed, and Duva lies unconscious, finally free of the Valg's control. But the victory carries a cost. Hafiza explains it plainly. Kale was too close to death. To pull him back, balance had to be restored. His life is now bound to Irene's, two souls sharing one thread. Her power stabilizes his spine, allowing him to walk when her magic is strong, but when she's drained, the injury returns. So he'll be using the cane on some day, and his wheelchair on the others. The damage will never fully heal. Worse still, when death eventually comes, it will claim them together. Not fear for his own end, Hafiza tells them, but fear of what his loss would do to Irene. Kale accepts it without hesitation. He tells Irene that the chair was never a prison, that his worth has never been met. I'm gonna stop right there. His chair was never a prison? That miserable fuck for the first half of the book?
He's having an epiphany. He's realizing this now, that he was a whiny fuck.
Oh, God. It's just like the way that was written, I'm just like, hold up.
Yeah.
No.
It should be. He is currently having this massive epiphany that the chair was never a prison.
So, yeah, he tells Irene the chair was never a prison. That his worth has never been measured by whether he stands. She wanted to heal him completely. He insists she already has, in every way that matters. They choose each other, fully, knowingly, together, and the bond between them settles into something steady and unbreakable. Attention turns to Duba. Sartak presents the truth to the Kagan. The ring she wore was a Valk trap, sent by Parrington, Erewhon himself. The demon used her, murdered Tumlin through her body, and nearly destroyed this family from within. The revelation fractures the room. Grief, fury, denial all collide, but Haviza's words hold. When Cashin begs Irene to try and save his sister, Irene does not waver. She will try. Kale, Nesrin, and Irene make the stakes clear. Morath has already reached these shores. The Valg are stirring. This war is no longer distant. Princess Duva is not the first victim, and she'll not be the last unless they act. The Kagan gives a single command: save her. Haviza steps aside, and Irene approaches the unconscious princess, knowing this is more than a healing. It's a final test of her skill, of her purpose, of why she was drawn across the seas and empires to this very moment. And Irene begins.
Chapter 65. Irene removes the false wedding ring from Duva's hand and immediately realizes this corruption is far worse than anything she has faced before. Where Kale's infection had been a shadow, this is a living abyss, an ancient Valg parasite embedded deep within Duva's body and soul. As Irene pulls the ring free, Duva begins to scream and thrash, restrained only by her brothers and Haviza's spell. Irene steels herself and channels her magic, becoming pure white light as she reaches directly into Duva's chest to confront the demon. Inside, Irene enters a storm of cold, darkness, and malice. The Valg demon fights her, taunts her, and resists with everything it has, but Irene refuses to yield. She pours her power into Duva, flooding every vein and bone with light, hunting the corruption down piece by piece. At last, she sees the demon's true form, grotesque, ancient, and vicious, and destroys it completely, despite its final warning that others like it will come. Irene collapses back into her body, drained nearly to nothing, but the demon is gone. Duva retches and coughs as the last black smoke leaves her, and when Irene examines her womb, she confirms the child is alive, healthy, and human. The moment breaks the room. Duva weeps, her husband breaks down, and the Kagan falls to his knees, overwhelmed with gratitude and relief as his family is reunited. Later, alone with Kale, Nesrin, and Sartak, the full implications begin to surface. Nesrin reveals what they've uncovered. Maeve is a Valg queen, hiding in plain sight for centuries, and the war ahead is far darker than they imagined. Irene adds one final truth. The demon inside Duva was not a Valg prince, but a princess, meaning the enemy has far more depth and hierarchy than they feared. As plans begin to form, alliances strengthen, Sartak confirms he has brought 1,000 Ruck Riders. Nesrin commits to the fight. Hazar arrives and, in a rare moment of sincerity, pledges her support, not for politics, but for her sister and for Irene. She vows to march against Morath and help save Irene's homeland. For the first time in a long while, hope takes shape, not because the danger has passed, but because they are no longer facing it alone. Ooh.
And right into 66. Nesrin, exhausted but restless, wanders Antika alone and is summoned by a letter from her uncle, only to discover her family has finally arrived safely in the city. Overwhelmed, she reunites with her father, sister, and nieces and nephews in the street, breaking down in tears as relief and love crash over her. She has claimed a new rook, Saki, whose former rider is dead, and the moment feels like both an ending and a beginning. Sartak finds her there, openly greeting her family and showing them respect, even allowing the children to swarm Kadara and Saki. The warmth of that moment makes it clear how deeply he belongs in her life. When he asks Nesrin to walk with him, the tone shifts. He's spoken to his father. Nesrin braces for rejection, for politics, for the reminder that she's a common-born and he is a prince. Instead, Sartak tells her the truth. He declared he would lead the Rook into war regardless of consent, because the woman he loves is going. His father argued that the heir must marry for power and alliances. Sartak replied that if that is the price of being chosen, he wanted no part of it, and walked out. Before he could leave, his father named him heir anyways. Sartak refuses to let Nestrin bow to him, making it clear that titles change nothing between them, and promises her constancy through war, monsters, and gods alike. He offers not a crown, but a future. They will fight this war together, survive together, and return to Annika side by side. Nestrin accepts in her own way, not with vows, but with honesty and resolve, choosing war first and whatever comes after second. They kiss softly with wonder, sealing something real and equal between them, and from behind the wall, her sister's triumphant shout makes it clear the love story has very much been noticed.
Yeah, I think, what was it that she shouts out? Something like I told you, or like, I knew it, or something like that. I don't remember. Maybe I'm completely off.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Anyways, we're not that invested in that story.
No.
Unfortunately. Chapter 67. We jump 2 weeks ahead, and it's just before dawn. Irene stands on the deck of a massive ship as it prepares to leave Antika. She watches the sun rise over the city one last time, committing the place, the streets, and the Torre, how do you say that?
Sesame.
Sesame? Chesme.
Chesme?
Chesme? The Torre to memory as the ship rocks in the autumn winds. This is home, and now she's leaving it for war. She didn't plan many goodbyes, but Cash and Fant are at the docks. He admits he regrets the moment on the steps that changed everything between them and tells her how much he's missed her friendship. Irene admits she's missed it too. There's pain between them, but also understanding and gratitude, especially for what she did for Duva. Cashin hints that with Sartak now heir, he's finally free to follow his own path, wherever it leads. They part warmly as friends. Afterward, Irene stays at the rail, breathing in the scents and sounds of Antika as it wakes. Her gaze keeps returning to the Torre, rising pale and steady above the city, a symbol of healing, safety, and hope. As the ship finally pulls away and the city fades into the distance, she wonders if she'll ever see it again. Even when the coast is nearly gone, she swears she can still see the Torre shining in the sun, like a hand lifted in farewell as they sail across the narrow sea and toward war.
And the final chapter of Tower of Dawn.
Yay!
I don't count the epilogue as Tower of Dawn, even though it is, because it's Aylin's POV, so...
Yep.
So the last chapter, chapter 68. Kale's recovery had come one careful step at a time, each moment earned, each day at sea a quiet reminder of how far he'd come. Traveling with a healer meant his body was mending faster than he ever thought possible, and after 2 weeks of storms and nausea, even the sea had finally released him from its punishment. He found Irene at the prow, watching the distant coastline they dared not approach, and wrapped his arms around her with an ease that still felt like a miracle. She leaned into him without hesitation, their rings catching the light, their comfort with one another as natural as breathing. Marriage had not been a grand affair, but it had been right. A small ceremony in the Silva's temple, a feast Hazar insisted upon, and vows that had rewritten the future for both of them. Kale found himself marveling at how clearly his path had revealed itself the moment he asked Irene to be his wife, how every doubt and fracture had aligned into certainty. Standing there with her, the sea wind in her hair, and the promise of land ahead, he knew there was nowhere else he was meant to be. When Irene opened the locket she always wore and mentioned the small note inside, the one that had guided her through the darkest years, Kale took it from her hands and finally read it closely. The handwriting was unmistakable, the words simple and generous. For wherever you need to go, and then some, the world needs more healers. In that moment, everything clicked. The queen, who had once shown kindness to a frightened barmaid, had unknowingly set the entire chain of events into motion. Aelin Galathinius had reached back from her own hell and changed the world with a single act of compassion. That kindness had been repaid tenfold. 300 healers from the Torre now sailed with them, scattered among 1,000 ships. The Kagan's forces filled the sea, while above them 1,000 Rukin flew in formation, led by Sartak and Nesrin. It was an army born not just of war, but of gratitude, belief, and faith in something better. Irene had asked for only one thing: save my people, and the world had answered. As Cale tucked the note back into Irene's locket, he felt something old and broken inside him finally turn to dust. Every road he walked, every failure and pain had led him here, to this ship, this woman, this moment. Holding Irene against him as they sailed towards war, Cale did not look back. Not when he found his courage, his purpose, and his home. And whatever waited for them ahead, he knew, without a doubt, that this story, this life, was worth it. And we're done, Tower of Dawn!
So I had a really stupid moment just then. I don't know if you've seen, like, me try not to laugh.
I had tuned out this monitor completely.
See, when you read the part about how he took out the note and he read it and the handwriting was unmistakable, and I confused Aelin with Feyre, and I was like, how the fuck did you write that? And I was like, how did he recognize her handwriting? She can't write, she can't read. So I'm
Cale
an idiot.
is the most handsome captain of the guard.
I mean, it would work.
Oh,
okay. Not the first, and definitely won't be the last time I confuse some of SJM's universes. Funny. Okay.
Take us away with the epilogue.
The epilogue is just titled Fireheart. So we switched to Aelin's POV, and she is imprisoned in the iron coffin. What did I just say?
Oh, I'm just reacting to the Fireheart to Aelin's POV, where she currently is, what happens in Kingdom of Ash, and now I'm just spiraling.
Oh. So she is imprisoned in the iron coffin. She's drugged into a drifting, dreamlike sleep where darkness and flames sing to her and time loses all meaning. When the coffin is finally opened, blinding light rips her back into her body, still chained and masked. Maeve stands over her, beautiful, cold, triumphant, while Cairn hauls her upright, forcing her fully awake and helpless. With a sharp smile, Maeve welcomes her to consciousness and makes one thing terrifyingly clear. The real torment is only just beginning.
Oh, God, I wish that was an understatement.
Yeah. So, I like how they did that. I know you read it, like, each book separate. But I was thinking about it, like it's good that she put that epilogue in, because we just read a long-ass book that had absolutely zero Aelin
main character
and crew, right? So I was like that's a pretty good, like, reminder of where Aelin's at right now at the end of this book.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
You should be. I wish I was joking.
I think everybody's gonna die in this book. That's my prediction.
There are fates worse than death.
You just did that, didn't you? You said something that's going to make sense when we read the book.
Well, that's all for this week's episode. Come back next week for our final thoughts and feelings on the tandem read, Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. And for now, I will be inserting foot into mouth and calling it a night.
I mean, I would also agree that there are fates worse than death, because pretty well all of what Aelin is going to go through with Maeve, I think, is that. I wouldn't want to do it. I'd rather die. I think. But anyways, I know you can't say anything.
We'll be starting Kingdom of Ash in the new year.
Oop.
I don't know what that says about 2026, but...
We also have another book that we will be discussing in 2026.
Which I still
The
need
very
to
beginning.
read. And read its
Ooh.
predecessor, because I have not read that yet either.
Well, you don't need to.
So
I don't think you need to read.
Behind. WoW has taken over my life.
I know, mine too. But I don't think you need to read the first, like the source material.
I want to, though, because I want to see, like going back to Alchemize, I wasn't necessarily, like, the whole time I was reading Alchemize being like, oh, this is this person, this is this person, this is this place. The initial, like, oh, this is Hermione, this is Draco. It didn't go much farther past there. There was a couple of, like, is that Umbridge? Is that supposed to be Umbridge? Or is this supposed to be Snape? Or what have you? But there was a couple, but I do want to see the original side of it. I want to see the Harry Potter references and just, like, read the original content. Because out of the two, I would probably rather read the Harry Potter version.
Mm-hmm.
Just cause. But
yeah,
I am looking forward to this one all the same. Probably more than Alchemize, just because Alchemize was fucking giant.
Yeah. I think you'll enjoy this one better.
Yeah.
That's probably not hard. It's probably not a difficult task for you to enjoy it better than Alchemized / Manacled. But I did find that... No, we're going to leave that for...
Yeah,
for the actual episode.
That's a discussion for that episode.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Fuck off, Stacey.
Making this episode longer for me to edit before Christmas.
I'm sorry. Okay, bye.
Until next week. Bye-bye.
Toodles.
And with that, our Coven summoning comes to a close. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date on our journey through Throne of Glass.
Join